Good morning and happy 4th if you're celebrating. I know I don't feel much like celebrating independence. Yeah. Anyway, I'm Carolyn and welcome back to another episode of As I See It. If you clicked on this video because you saw my face, just be warned, this is not my RV channel. It has nothing to do with RV life. Well, actually kind of. It's my political channel, and I am a firm believer that politics affects everything, including RV life. And I think you could make the argument that that is very true. We're seeing some legislation around that. But anyway, this is it's been my hobby for several years now. And I'm very sporadic about posting here because it is a hobby. And that means I don't always have time or energy, but I'm channeling all my nervous energy into this channel the last few days. So thank you for being here. If you enjoy my content and you like this channel, please subscribe to this channel. I'm almost up to 4,000 subscribers. Not bad for a hobby. All right. So today's video, I want to talk to you about why I am 100% behind Biden not dropping out of the race. I did the video the day after the debate about what a disaster it was and how disappointing it was. And I think I made it clear in that video, my disappointment or my concern was not about whether or not he could do the job. I am 1,000% committed and confident that he can continue to do the amazing job he has done over the last 3.5 years. My concern with the debate performance was that he wasn't going to win over the swing and undecided voters that we needed. That my concern, I did say that, I remember talking about how my concern was that what he portrayed that night was pretty much the caricature of the Biden that the right has been saying he is. That he isn't. He is not that person. We have seen him do amazing things, and I will do a video maybe tomorrow. I've been seeing dumpster fire. Last 3.5 years have been a dumpster fire, a disaster. America is blah, blah. I mean, my mind is blown that people really think the country is in so much trouble since Biden has been president. I'm going to address that tomorrow. But my concern after the debate wasn't about his ability to continue to lead the country. Not in any way, shape, or form, but it was about perception. My only concern was about perception. In the day of media, in the day of social media, and where sound bites rule the day, and people read headlines and look at 5-second clips without digging into the full story or looking at history or context, my concern was that that was going to be used to demonstrate a lie that's been told for 3.5 years, that he's sleepy, that he's ineffective, that he's not really the one running things, that he's too infirmed to be really running this country, that he's just a puppet. I mean, these are all comments I have been seeing, which just aren't true, in my opinion. But here is why I am really glad he's not dropping out. I was really glad to see him come out and emphatically state, I am not dropping out. And there are some good reasons for this. Number one, he has done an amazing job. All you have to do is do some honest research. And people think I just get my news from MSNBC. I don't. And I was thinking about this morning. I get my news from NPR, BBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Associated Press, Midas Touch, Heather Cox Richardson, Robert Reich, Huffington Post, Rolling Stone. I mean, there are a million different places that I get my news from. Some of them are very centrist, are very middle of the road. NPR, BBC, ABC, NBC, very middle of the road. You can disagree with me all you want, and you probably will, because some of you think that if it's not Fox News, it's liberal propaganda. But that's another story. But my point is, if you go to the source, if you look at actual records and statistics from the Labor Department, the State Department, if you look at outside sources outside the United States who have no interest whatsoever in perpetuating either left or right agenda, oh my gosh, again, the whole world order or whatever. What is it? The global, I don't know. Anyway, Joe Biden has outperformed my expectations. I think he has outperformed all of our expectations. The labor market, the stock market is double what it was 4 years ago, double what it was. Inflation hit the world, the entire world, and we are the envy of the world for our low inflation and for how our economy rebounded after the pandemic. Look it up. Look it up. Don't disagree with me because you've been told by your news sources that the economy is a mess and Joe Biden caused inflation. Look it up. The fact is, our economy right now is the envy of the freaking world. Fact. Inflation hit everybody because of the supply chain and because supply and demand, basic economics after the pandemic. Fact. We have one of the lowest inflation rates at this time. We have one of the strongest economies, strongest job markets, lowest unemployment rate across the board. Fact. So it is for this reason that I believe if we can just continue to drill home on those facts that we are in a really good place. Crude oil production is higher than it's ever been in the entire history of the world in the United States. Joe Biden increased oil production and sold it to other countries at a profit, earning us money. The deficit, which Trump added trillions of dollars. So those are all the reasons I think it's a really good idea for Biden to stay in the race because he has been an effective president. And if you really were honest about how the economy is performing and how you are doing personally, you would probably admit that you are better off. Sure, prices are still high, but that's not the president. That's largely because of all of the policies of mostly Republican presidents taking away regulations on companies. And so their profits are skyrocketing. CEO pay is skyrocketing. They have record profits over the last 4 years. So you can't scream that you want a free market and that you don't want the government to get involved in the economy, in the free market, and then bitch about high prices. Fact, we have high prices right now, and CEOs and corporations are pulling in record profits. That's a fact. And that is not anything to do with Joe Biden. So his track record is the number one reason why I think he needs to stay in the race. The second reason he needs to stay in the race is because let's say, for argument's sake, that he is maybe getting a little older, slowing down a little bit. Let's say that. Just for argument's sake, let's say that there is some truth in that. He has put together a top-notch, intelligent team of people who are there for him. Biden didn't do all the last 3.5 years alone. He is an effective, strong, intelligent leader who has put together a group of the right people to take the country in the right direction, to pull us out of the pandemic in which we lost millions of American lives because of the mismanagement of that, brought the economy back. Oh, crime is also at a 30-year low. Crime is at a 30. So he has put together an effective team to work with him for the good of America and the good of the American people, including you, the Trump supporters. So even if he becomes infirmed or he becomes too ill to run the country or slows down a little bit, I have confidence in his team, the cabinet and the team and the aides and the consultants that he has surrounded himself with to be able to support him. On the other hand, we have a presidential candidate. 95% of the people who worked with him are no longer supporting him. I can't remember the number. 40, I think it's like 44 out of 46 cabinet members are no longer, have publicly stated they cannot support him for president because they know what a danger he is to our country and our democracy. So, no, that's the second reason I am completely behind Joe Biden and glad that he didn't back out, is because I have confidence in his team. I have confidence in his leadership skills, his leadership abilities to surround himself with people who will hold him up and continue this trajectory toward prosperity for everyone. As opposed to the other guy whose vice president won't even endorse him for president. Look it up. His team, the ones who aren't in jail for crimes committed, the criminals are still supporting him, of course, because birds of a feather, right? But the ones who aren't criminals, all of the people Trump hired, handpicked, because I choose only the very best people.
I mean, no different than when you're running a company, how you hire top people. We have to get the best people. We need to get the best and the finest, and if we don't, we'll be in trouble for a long period of time.
I choose the best people. Some of them are in jail, and the ones who aren't refuse to endorse him. So that's the second reason I think Joe Biden is the right choice. And the third, and I think in some ways the most important reason I think it is crucial for Biden to see this election through and not be replaced, is because in the history of the United States, incumbents win. Trump was the exception, one of the very few exceptions to that. That's how abysmal his performance was. That's how abysmal his record was. That's how horrible of a leader and a president he was, that he is one of a few presidents, incumbents, who did not win a second term. So I think to take Biden out of the race at this point would be a huge, huge mistake, because number one, if incumbents win most of the time and you put a new person up for the Democrats, then that new person is running against an incumbent. Of course, the incumbent lost once, and it probably could lose again, but are we really going to risk that? If incumbents normally win, Joe Biden is the incumbent, so he is favored to win. Of course, you can argue they're both incumbents, but Trump was an incumbent who lost once. But if we replace Biden with, say, a Gavin Newsom, who is not an incumbent, I'm afraid the favor might fall on Trump. Is Biden perfect? Absolutely not. Is anybody perfect? Absolutely not. Is our country broken in a lot of ways? Yes. Do we have a lot of issues that need to be fixed? Yes. Is big money too much of a problem in our politics today? Abso-freaking-lutely. Those are not issues that can be solved by one person overnight. They are certainly not issues that are going to be solved by a king or an authoritarian or a dictator. They are only going to be made worse. My plea to you is to give Biden 4 more years. Give Biden 4 more years with a Democratic Congress and a Democratic House, so that we can make drastic, sweeping change that needs to be made to set us up for success in the future. By voting for Trump, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I said in 2016, I kind of understood a vote for Trump was a giant FU to the system, and I get that. And I said at the time, he's not the right one, though. He is not the right one. He is too dangerous. And here we are today. We need to vote blue down the ballot. We need control of the tiniest little elections in your city, in your community, in your county, in your state. Joe Biden has already demonstrated that he is willing to stand up to the big business, capping late fees at banks, capping insulin prices for the first time in history. He is standing up to big farm, big banks, capping bank fees, capping insulin prices, student loan forgiveness. The only people who profit from student loans not being forgiven are the big banks who are charging. I just looked at my student loans yesterday, 8.5% interest a month. 8.5% interest on what's left of my student loans. I'm 57 years old, 56, 57, whatever, and still paying student loans, and I'm paying 8.5% interest. Who benefits from that? I mean, I've already paid back my principal. All of these people who are like, yeah, I paid off my student loans. Great. Hallelujah. I've paid my principal off years ago. I'm just still paying because of the interest. Joe Biden has been fighting for the American people. And if you really take the time to look, you will see it. To pull Joe Biden out of the race now would be disastrous for the future of America. I stand behind Joe Biden 100%. He is the only choice. One more thing I forgot to say. Experts, there's this one guy, you guys know who he is, who predicts presidential races. And I think he's gotten, in his lifetime since he's been doing this, I think he only got one wrong. He is predicting that Biden will win. Again, incumbents have the edge. So I stand behind Joe Biden 1,000%. I also have 1,000% faith in Kamala Harris's ability to run the country should she need to. I don't know. I do know why there is so much hate toward her. We all know what that's about. I mean, the Joe and the Ho signs I see all over the country. We know exactly what that's about, but I have 100% faith in her ability should worst case scenario happen, but I don't think it's going to. But should it happen, Kamala Harris is more than capable of running our country. All right, enjoy your day. Tell me what you're doing today. Are you celebrating? Are you kind of boycotting? And tell me why you're continuing to support Joe Biden for president in 2024. All right. Happy 4th. See you soon. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to subscribe.